what y'all doing? Sorry, no, I'm not Leslie Jordan. No. Um, I am back though. I have a lot of people asking me, "Are you back?" And I'm thinking, "Yeah, I'm back." I'm not John Wick either. I had to throw that out there. I was just thinking about that earlier. No, this is quick succession for me. These videos. The last one I did yesterday was about Van Halen. Today we're going to talk about Metallica. All right, Hugh Hefner back, here to talk about Metallica. Specifically such, we're going to talk about Load and Reload. Probably two of the most underrated Metallica albums, or maybe they're overrated. I really don't know how to look at it, because I know people go to their concerts, they're always sold out. People know these songs, people love them, but they talk so much trash about Load and Reload. Well, it's kind of like American politics. It takes one to know one. And, you know, you had what they said was the worst president before, and then now they have this one. Everybody's a critic, whatever. But Load and Reload, I actually got Load after Reload. So, really weird. I think it was my second Metallica album, Reload. Injustice was actually my first. It was one of my first CDs, actually, that I ever purchased, alongside Kiss's Dress to Kill, and I believe Foo Fighters' Color and the Shape. Those are like three albums that I still carry to this day. I actually have the original copies that I bought, and I've had to replace them a couple times. I've actually had to replace Load and Reload on disc. I think this is the second time, maybe. The last ones got scratched up because I listen to them so often. I mean, I'm constantly pulling them for my truck for listening pleasure in my truck. But I will say that I understand that people do not like it because it's not the thrash metal that it was in the 80s with Cliff, but they have a new bassist at this point. Jason Newsted stepped in on Injustice. They kept the formula going to some degree, minus the bass parts, which is really terrible. And then the Black Album kind of went into new territory. And I think that's the territory where people kind of stopped listening. Because they were churning out hits and they went a little softer. They weren't the thrash band that they used to be, and they wanted to do different stuff with their music, and you can tell. On Load, I mean, "Ain't My Bitch," the title or the beginning track, is like literally my go-to, one of my go-to ringtones on my phone. When I was growing up, I actually had a hat with this and the Metallica star on it. And this is one of my favorite hats, dude. If I could find the picture, I'd post it. As silly as I look, a tall, lanky, skinny kid, dorky kid in high school, I would totally post that picture if I could find it. But yeah, this album is amazing, dude. I mean, everybody knows about King Nothing and Hero of the Day. Those were songs that were videos on MTV back in the day. But there's so many good songs. I mean, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me is one of my favorites. The Cure, oh, I love that song. It's very dark words in that. Poor Twisted Me, Wasted My Hate. Oh. But the one that I really love that sticks out on this is Mama Said. It's a country song. I mean, it's acoustic, countrified song, and James pretty much sings that on his own. One of my favorite tracks, and it's not because it's a Metallica track, which it is, because honestly I feel like they are deeper than that. They went back to their roots. They wanted to do like Metallica, Metallica wanted to do like a Sabbath album. I mean, that, to me, if you listen to early Sabbath stuff with Ozzy, it's comparable to these two albums. Like they based it, they watered their stuff down, and they based it on the originality of what they knew rather than who they were, which is still a part of who they are. But everybody knew them as this like, kill them all, band, and it's different. So Reload starts out with Fuel. I actually remember whenever I had a music player that I listened to at previous jobs and stuff, I would actually take that song off and put the what was the song? I can't even remember the title of the song that was on Mission Impossible soundtrack, but I would replace that because it's a better album opener, and I got so tired of listening to Fuel, but I do love the song. Memory Remains, and of course Devil's Dance. Unforgiven 2, which is, they had those 3 versions of The Unforgiven, the one on the Black Album, the original, Unforgiven 2 on Reload, and then I think the third one is on Death Magnet. I do believe it's on Death Magnetic. But yeah, this is one of my favorite albums too. Bad Seed, Carpe Diem Baby. That's an amazing song. Where the Wild Things Are. I mean, just the themes are dark in themselves. I mean, you don't have to have powerhouse riffs and crazy straying solos forever. But I love Metallica. I will always be a tried and true Metallica fan. One thing I will say, I think, releasing those albums 96, 97, and then they put out Garage Inc. in 98, I think that may have saved them because they kind of were like, okay, this is what we did for now, but we're still this band, because they put the Garage Days Revisited stuff on there where they had like, the original kind of thrash sound, but they also did more covers, and those got a lot of radio play too. So that's a lot of material being put out by them in just a couple of years there. They did some Sabbath covers, they did Leonard Skinner covers, Whiskey in the Jar too. That's a good one. Turn the Page, Bob Seger. I mean, they did a lot of stuff in a lot of time, and a little bit of time there. Sorry. So for me, growing up in that era, it was like, whew. How could you not be a Metallica fan, and how could you not like these albums? Of course, I get it. A lot of my friends that are fans of Metallica, they reminisce about the 80s and the early 90s when they were still milking those thrash albums. But those are the ones that I grew up on. Those are my thoughts on it. I love those albums. They're great albums. Don't discount them. Don't overlook them. Go listen to them. Listen to them again. Don't think about them being Metallica. Just listen to them, because they're not Saint Anger, okay? Everybody gives Saint Anger a bad name. I love Saint Anger too. Not really. I try to. I do like a lot of what they were doing with Saint Anger, but I think the fact that Jason had left the band, it really frustrated their writing process. And they didn't know where they were going, and they were trying to put out an album, and it sucks. That they couldn't come up with something better, because I feel like a lot of the riffs are repetitive on that album. But somewhere I read that Jimmy Page really likes the album. So if someone like Jimmy Page can find purity in that album, then maybe it's worth a re-listen too. But I love Load and Reload. So go listen to Load and Reload. I'm telling you, they're really good albums. They're not Saint Anger, but they stray from the thrash. The one other thing that they did that kind of was heartfall for me was, like, they said they were working with Lou Reed. I love Lou Reed, I love the Velvet Underground. And to find out they were getting their chance to work with Lou was kind of great, but that album bombed, and it's not really good at all. I get it. I saw what they were trying to do on paper, and it just didn't come out very well. So, I don't know. Metallica's just one of those bands that'll try anything, and I like that about Metallica. So, I'm just going to leave it here. Give me some comments. Subscribe below. Tell me what you think about Load and Reload. Tell me what your favorite Metallica album is. Who's your favorite Metallica bassist? You have Bob Rock. Nobody likes Bob Rock. No, Bob Rock is a good producer, but that's where he needs to stay. Robert. You have Cliff. You have Jason. It's basically 3 different eras to me. So this is just one of my favorite eras. I love Metallica. I'm a very big fan of theirs, and I appreciate all their works. But I just wanted to give a shout out to Load and Reload, because they don't get a lot of credit. So I'm Hugh Scheffner, your host. Come back, see you next time, and rock on.